channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and we are live. Thank you for joining us.
Of
Today
course.
we're going to be talking about the first 5 episodes of Guyver, the Bioboosted Armor series from 2005.
Guyver.
My name is Derek. I also go by Dragon DJ, and I'm joined by my friend Remy today.
Hello.
So, uh, yeah, so if this is your first time checking out the channel, feel free to subscribe, hit the like button. Always appreciate it. Feel free to comment, and here we go. So, uh, Remy, is this your first time seeing this Guyver series, or have you seen it before?
The series, yes, but I am like aware of the Guyver character.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, um, since this is your first time watching it, and we, like I said, we're talking about the first 5 episodes. So, just in general, what was kind of your overall impression starting out going into this, and then we'll break down the episodes individually and talk about them. So,
Okay. I enjoyed it. I thought the first episode started off pretty strong. There were times I will say though that I like found it hard. Like I don't know. I think it was the pacing in some of the episodes. I was like, oh my god, move along,
yeah,
hurry up, please, God, enough. And then they would get to something cool. I'm like, oh, awesome. And then that would be the end of the episode. And I'm like, now I got to watch the next one. Like, it kind of felt like that for most of it. Like, there were moments where it was, like, really good. And there were moments where I'm just like, oh, my God, when does the Guyver show back up? Or when
yeah.
does the Zoanoid show up? One or the other, please. Somebody do something.
Yeah. I had both the original OVA series on VHS back in the '90s, and then when this series came out, I picked it up and collected it. And then there's also 2 live action movies that came out here in America,
The
and so
live
I have
action,
both of those.
yeah, the live action ones were, I would say, my first introduction to Guyver.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got introduced to it by the anime and then found the live actions, and so I've read most of the manga too. Um, I don't think I quite finished it. I need to get around to actually finding it again and actually reading through the whole thing. Can't remember why I didn't finish it, but it's a really cool series. Um, so we'll get into the first episode, talk about uh, what our thoughts were on that. Um, in this first episode, we're introduced to the main characters. We've got uh, Sho Fukumachi, who's the main hero of the series.
Mm-hmm.
We got his best friend, Tetsuro Sagawa. We meet his sister, Mizuki Sagawa. And then we're briefly introduced to Ajito Makashima. Um, and these 4 are kind of like the predominant characters throughout the entire series. Obviously, Sho and Tetsuo are kind of the like the 2 main ones that we're going to be following for the most part. But
Yeah.
um, so in the opening, it's kind of we see Sho and Mizuki, and Mizuki's kind of narrating. She's the one that's talking at first, kind of opening everything up. Um, and then you looks like kind of like an apocalypse is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was your thoughts when that first opened up?
I thought, wow, this is looking like some Devilman Crybaby sort of bullshit going on right here. I don't know what's going on. It kind of reminded me of Devilman a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm not prepared for that. What's going on?
Yeah,
Oh, not again.
yeah, that's a whole nother crazy series.
Yeah, good God. You want listen, people. If you didn't think Guyver is dark enough for you, well, I got a series for you to watch.
And they made a live action of that too in Japan. And that
Oh, they
one,
did.
yeah,
Oh, that's right. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
I don't think I heard it was good though.
It's been a while since I watched it. I do have it in my collection, but it's been a while since I watched it, so I don't remember now.
Yeah, but yeah, no, the opening kind of had that similar like imagery, but like it was also a good opening, like capturing like my attention, like what's going on here, like what's happening.
Yeah, that the last thing that you see in it, that like pod that's coming down and the figure that comes out of it, that's actually the Guyver's gigantic form, and that
Oh,
comes in later in the series, and it's pretty interesting because the anime pretty much ends shortly after that is introduced. So we don't get to really see a whole lot of the dynamics of it. We do get to see a little taste of its powers and everything. In the manga, uh, it's pretty crazy how that Mega Guyver suit works, and I'll bring that up later on. Maybe towards the end, we'll talk about some of that from what I remember. But
I didn't even know that was a Mecha Guyver. I couldn't even like tell it.
yeah, so yeah, because like I said, the series ends shortly after it's introduced. This
Mhm.
anime series, so I don't know. I haven't read up on it in a while, so I don't know if they were planning on doing like a second season, and because uh, like this anime series follows the manga a little bit more closely than the original
Yeah, then the
OVAs
eight.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but it only goes through like the first 60 chapters
Okay.
or first 10 volumes or whatever. So
Mm.
um, so there's a lot that's that we're missing out on, unfortunately.
Mm.
So so after this big opening kind of dialogue and introduction, uh, then it just jumps to this nice peaceful setting. It's just this nice spring day.
Talk
Uh,
about a good jump cut.
yeah, and you know, so you see like you go from all these explosions and these monsters flying around and this big giant monster thing coming down, and then all of a sudden peace. And so we're introduced, uh, and right off the bat, and it just seems like nice and average, and then
Yeah.
eventually, we meet his dad, uh, and then eventually we meet, his friend Tetsuo and his sister. Um, so and everything, seems pretty normal.
Yeah.
It's like complete opposite of what we just saw.
There's another day in the life of good old Peter Parker. I mean, show.
Yeah. So now they're obviously all in high school, and from what I was reading, Show is 17 years old.
Yeah, I remember reading that too. For some reason, I thought they were in middle school because of their uniforms. Because I remember in My Hero, when we first got introduced to Deku and Bakugo, they were wearing the same type of uniforms. And I thought, so why are they in? Because I remember them saying that they were in middle school when that happened. But
I think for My Hero Academia, they had just graduated from middle school and were going into high school, and that was when they
okay,
were
yeah,
joining the academy.
that's why I was like wondering. I was just like, so because the uniforms they're wearing when they transferred to UA, I was like, so wait, are these characters also in middle school? Because I was wondering like halfway through the action scene, I was like, wow, this is a lot for it to happen for a middle schooler. I'm like, God.
Yeah. No, that's the thing in Japan. Like every school has their own kind of unique uniforms.
Mhm.
Um, at least I know that they all have uniforms.
Yeah.
Like, and so I don't know if they all have the same styles, or I'm not 100% certain on that.
Hmm.
Um, but I think depending on the grade system that you're in, changes the uniform. So like when you go from middle school to high school, it's a different one, and their year structure is a little bit different than ours. So like, um, so I think Show is the equivalent of a junior, but he's 17 years old.
Okay.
Because his best friend is the year above him, is in
Yeah.
like the final year. So
Oh, really? Tetsuro? Really? Tetsuro's a senior then?
yeah, because if you look at the lapel,
Hmm.
Tetsuo has three and Show has two.
Okay, that's
And then
interesting.
Agito also has the 3 on his, so
Yeah,
they're in the same year.
yeah. I figured he looked. Yeah, he looked pretty old. So I
Yeah,
was like, but yeah, I was like, he looks older than
yeah,
most
he
people.
actually looks like an adult. And
Yeah, he does.
then,
But you could argue that with almost every freaking teenager in anime. You're like, they look like adults, but their teeth is like, what? How?
yeah.
Just make them adults then. Like, why do they look like like why? What?
Um, so yeah, so we get to see kind of what the school life is like, and then and then mixed in with all this, I totally forgot. Before we actually meet Show, um, we get to see, yeah, before we meet Show, we actually see a late night rendezvous with police and a certain individual. Forgot about that. Naughty, naughty on me. So what'd you think about that part?
um, it's interesting because I watched the the '90 movies before this.
Yeah,
That reminded me a lot of the opening to one of I think the first '90s movie because it was like scientists running away who had the Guyver suit and he was being chased by other Zoanoids.
yeah.
I got like heavy flashbacks to that. I was like, oh, this is just like the movie. Like this
And that
must
that was the thing that I appreciated about the first movie is they did actually try to summarize a lot of the manga into like an hour and a half long movie.
yeah, they did yeah, I will admit that. They did stay like pretty close to the manga. Not everything was
No,
to the manga, but they attempted to like
yeah,
represent it as best they could. I was like, all right, I'll give them that.
yeah. So, but yeah, so I had completely forgotten about the guy's interaction with the police. Like
Mhm.
I knew remember that there was a guy that escaped and eventually meets up with the other Zonoids and stuff like that. But I totally forgot that he actually murders a couple cops.
I know. I'm like wondering too. I'm like, well, is this guy supposed to be good, bad? Like, why would he just go ahead and just murder cops?
Yeah,
He's like, I'm sorry, and yet still kills him. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. You still murdered them. What's the point? You could have just escaped and ran away, or could have scared them off. I turned into a monster. That could have worked too.
yeah.
I don't get it.
So, so the reason why I wanted to go back and introduce that is because after school's out, Sho and Tetsuo go to their normal hangout place, which is a lake that's nearby, and this guy who had the encounter the previous night with the police and murdered them is carrying 3 devices in a duffel bag and ends up getting caught by these soldier guys. So, and then that's when we get introduced to the pure chaos that's going to be throughout the rest of the series. So, what were your thoughts when these soldiers showed up?
My first thought was like, I don't know. I got like heavy Saiyan armor vibes from them. I was like, what the hell, Saiyans? What are they doing here? They come
Why are
out
they
like,
carrying guns?
I know. I'm like, why are you carrying guns? You guys just shoot stuff out of your hands. But no, it's cool because I kind of like what type of stories where it's like somebody escapes from like some organization and they have the troops come out and go find them, and then like it wasn't that a whole like mystery like what it's all about. And then like it meets up with like the main character. So I was a soft spot for that kind of cliche. And again, reminded me again of a '90s movie, except I don't think troops showed up in that movie. I think it was just Zoanoids that just showed up instead.
Yeah, they didn't have them in like the uniforms like the manga does in the anime. They were
Mhm.
just like civilian clothes.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, they looked like just kind of your typical punks
Yeah,
from
exactly.
like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. And then, yeah, because in the movie they dress like that, and then the big surprise is like they turn into monsters. You're like, oh, what?
Yeah. So yeah, so so the soldiers and this guy that's running away meet up. Guy turns into a monster. looks kind of shambling and everything, and then one of the soldiers steps forward and he transforms into a giant monster too. And they have a little tussle, and the guy that was escaping sets off some kind of a grenade, which is powerful enough to kill him, and then send the 3 units that he was carrying in multiple directions. So one of them lands pretty nearby where they're having a confrontation with each other. And then one of them obviously lands next to our main characters because otherwise there wouldn't be a point of the series.
Yeah. Plot. That's why.
Yeah. So, you know, and it's interesting because when it does land near Sho and Tetsuo, Sho's like, dude, don't even touch it. Let's just go. And Tetsuo was like, come on, man. We got to check it out.
Could be UFO or something, man. And I'm just like, why? Even if it is a UFO, it doesn't mean to touch it. You idiot.
So, one of the things about Tetsuo is he's the president of the sci-fi club at the high school. So his sci-fi nerdism
doesn't excuse anything. I don't care if you're a fan of sci-fi. I like sci-fi too. It doesn't mean I'm going to go and grab some piece of alien material. I don't know what the hell it's going to do to me.
But as we find out, it bonds with Sho because, you know, Tetsuo, they accidentally activate it and then Tetsuo throws it at Sho.
He's like, oh no, it's activating. Here, Sho, catch it. Like, what? Like, what am I? Wait, what?
Oh my gosh.
Zero regard for his friend's safety.
Yeah.
It's like, he's going to take it.
And then poor kid gets wrapped up in all these tentacles and everything. Yeah. And it's like, okay, what are we watching now?
Yeah, I know. When tentacles show up in anime, you're like, wait. Hold on. Hold on, Japan. Hang on. I like you, but no, wait, don't.
So, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sho gets wrapped up in all these tentacles and everything. He's screaming, and you hear an internal dialogue from where he's saying that he feels like something's crawling underneath his skin.
Yeah.
And that he can't breathe, and you know he's freaking out, and obviously Tetsuo is freaking out, and he ends up falling into the lake that they're near. And then within like a couple seconds, we have Gregor, the monster, popping up with some of the soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when we first get to see the actual Guyver itself. And so, what was your thoughts on this very first fight?
Good, but underwhelming, I would say.
Okay.
Like, I think the problem is that I think it's just the animation. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the animation looks good, but I think they just could like speed it up just a tiny bit with the action scenes. Like, they're very like static. Like when they go for a fist fight, they're just kind of like, very slow moving. Like, I get it. Like, well, it's a suit. Like, of course, he's going to be heavier. Like, it's not going to be mobile. But I'm like, first of all, it's an alien suit. It's going to be mobile. It's made for combat. So why would it be slow as hell? And like, I get it too that it's his first time using it, so that's kind of explains it. But I think they just could have like sped it up a bit when like he like broke his arms. Because like I watched the 86, was it 86? I watched the original OVA fight of it just for comparison, and like that one looked a little bit better because like that one was a little more gruesome. Like they actually showed like the bones protruding out of the monster's arms when he breaks them. Yeah, and it kind of moved just a tiny bit faster. But yeah, because I look at like the reference for like in the movie and like there the suit moves fast and like the action scenes are a lot like more paced better than this one is. I just kind of felt a little more static.
Yeah, this one it almost like a lot of the scenes feels almost like they're just trying to get the images from the manga.
Yeah,
and then like doing a little bit of motion around it.
Yeah,
you know,
I think they could have taken some liberties and just started creating like entirely new storyboards, new shots, and just like start like include shots from manga, but then like include it with like their own like.
Yeah, it kind of almost reminds me of the that first Hulk movie with Eric Bana, where they tried to make it look like it was comic book pages, and he was like jumping from panel to panel kind of thing.
Yeah, except it looks stupid.
So kind of watching through this again, it does feel kind of like that, where they're, like I said, they're putting motion to it, but they're mostly just focusing on like what you would see in the manga. So you're as you're reading along, you're seeing the setup and then the result. You're not really seeing much of the in between.
Yeah.
And and that kind of watching through these first 5 episodes, it does seem like that's going to be the theme throughout it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So
I'm like, I want to see the in between though. I know the aftermath to show me the in between. That's your part. Your animation. You can animate it.
Yeah. So fight's over pretty quickly. He just overpowers the Zoonoid. That's what these bad guy monsters are. And then his friend, comments about his body, and he looks at himself and at his reflection in the lake and freaks out. And then the suit, as far as they know, disappears in the lake.
Oh yeah, that's right. It did. That was weird. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought the suit was supposed to go back inside of him, not jump out and just go back in the water.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting, because it's like, why are they seeing it dematerialize that way, where we know that it's these like little panels that are on his back that they just pop out of and go into.
Yeah, like they even showed that in the movie where he retracts the suit and then like goes back into, I think, his neck in the movie, or goes back into the back?
It's on his back, same spot as him.
Oh, okay. Yep. That was his neck. Yeah, no, it goes back into his back. Like, so I thought they were going to do that too, when they show him retracting back into his skin.
So, but it does set up the confusion for the next episode.
Yeah.
Which in episode 2, they get, they're freaking out about it. Sho skips school because, he's got a fever, and
he literally just fought a monster yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how anybody else would take that. Like, I just got possessed by an alien suit and I killed a monster. I don't know what to do right now.
So Tetsuo was like, "Really, man? You're gonna skip school?"
like what the fuck? And then like a few episodes later, he's like, "Man, we should skip school." Like, shut up, just shut up, man. God. Oh God.
So, with the second episode, there's not too much that actually goes on until the very end. Again,
yeah, a little bit.
So you get the main character. I know Tetsuo and his sister go to school, and then it's the next day.
Yeah,
after that,
I think and then we are introduced to the organization Kronos in this episode too.
Yeah,
the main honcho and like his right hand man, and then we're introduced to detective. What's his name? The detective guy, the blonde haired one.
Oh, the inspector.
Yeah, inspector. Yeah, not detective. Inspector.
Trisker or something like that.
Yeah, something.
I forget.
Blonde inspector. We're gonna call him blonde inspector. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Yeah, but it was like a very interesting name. That's why I'm like having a hard time trying to remember it though.
Yeah, it was like Fisker.
Yeah, Fisker.
Something. Yeah,
something akin to
that. So yeah, we get introduced to these Kronos, which is this big organization, and right now we're dealing with the Japan branch. So obviously they're global, which comes in to play later on in the series. But So yeah, they decide that they want to try and figure out what's going. They want to try and recover this first Guyver unit because they did manage to find the second one, like I said, at the explosion site, and they are and surprising how long it takes to get back to the headquarters.
Yeah.
like the inspectors there, and they're having all these conversations, and they're like, yeah, it's on its way. Like, what the
Like,
heck?
how long exactly? What is it? What is this, like a FedEx thing? Like, how long am I supposed to wait for this freaking Guyver suit to come back?
um, so they send out a couple of guys, goons, to go and you know talk to Tetsuo, and he assumes that they're in like police.
Yeah.
So he starts talking to him and mentions Show.
And one of
Oh, you were there too, huh? All right, well,
yeah,
come with us.
mentions that. And for some reason, one of them has an Irish accent. I don't know
Mhm.
why it does. I
Yeah.
was like, why does he have an Irish accent and he's in Japan? What is this?
So, um, so what was kind of going through your mind besides the like where the Irish accent come from? What was going through your mind during this whole interaction as they're talking to the goons and riding with them, just jumping
Well,
in
I,
the.
well, I had a feeling. I was like, nah, this seems fishy. This doesn't seem like actual cops. Like, it's usually that kind of cliche where it's like, oh, yeah, no, we're cops. Come with us. Oh, surprise. We're not cops. We're actually goons from the villain here to kill you.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I kind of expected that. And plus, too, like, why would you even mention that Show was with you yesterday? Like, oh, he was with me yesterday. Like, shut up,
yeah,
dude. Like, what the How about you, before you interact with these people, how about you go talk to Show first and ask them, hey, should we talk to these people? And then chorus against each other, going like, nah, maybe not. Yeah, exactly. Like, what the like, why are you jumping?
yeah, yeah. It's such a boneheaded move.
It is.
He's just like, oh yeah, we were there. Yeah, let's talk.
Oh yeah, we were there yesterday. Like totally. Like, do you
Mm,
not understand the consequences that could come from this? No? Okay. Have that one on the car. Idiot.
Um, so yeah, they but I mean they are high school kids, the ones
Yeah,
like seniors, so you would think that they would know better, but I guess they didn't. They never learned stranger danger.
no.
Um, so
Education failed in that aspect.
yeah, so they're brought to like a warehouse. Show at least realizes something ain't right with these guys. They aren't cops, and of course they admit, hey, we never even said we were. So
That's even funnier. It's like,
yeah,
I have you to mention that we're cops. You guys just fell for it. Idiots. Like, what the? Like,
uh,
why?
so they're brought to be interrogated and asked where the Guyver unit is. And at first, Tetsuo, they're just trying to interrogate Tetsuo because they feel like he's the one that knows the most.
Mhm.
And they decide to try and they reveal who they are. They transform, or one of them does, and picks up Sho and is threatening to tear his arms off to try and get Tetsuo to talk. And finally, he blurts out that the suit just went into the lake. And they're like, we already checked. Nothing's there.
No, no, twist. What a twist!
What a twist.
What a twist! What's on the
Um,
lake?
and then we finally get to hear what the actual name of the unit is, which is called the Guyver.
Yeah, because one of the goons picks him up and he's like, the Guyver unit didn't work on you or something like that. And he's like, that's the name, Guyver. And then he yells it out, Guyver! And then that's when the suit pops out. And that's when we get, it's Guyver time, y'all.
Yeah.
Freaking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And what's interesting is after he's done transforming, because he was up against a wall and it's all cement and everything, and there's like a bubble. You can see like a indentation around where he was
Oh,
at.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which is pretty interesting because when you see like in like Kamen Rider series when they transform, like their armor comes out and before it wraps around them, it's like puts up a protective barrier. So if like an enemy was shooting at them, it would deflect the shot or knock them away and stuff like that. So pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Something similar.
No, that's cool. Well, that solves the classic complaint about like, why don't they just attack them when they're transforming? I'm like, a shield. How about that? That's fine. You fool. Because that's always a complaint everybody has in these kind of shows. They're like, why don't the monsters just attack when they're like in the middle of their transformation? Like say the Moon, maybe from Power Rangers, like Ultraman, freaking Kamen Rider. They're like, why don't you just kill them when they're like transforming? It takes them like a freaking minute to do so.
Yeah.
They just stand there and just wait.
So in this fight, we get introduced to his second power attack, because after he kills the first guy that was holding him, I think the transformation killed him. The other guy transforms and has kind of like a flamethrower attack, flame laser attack. And so the suit, they show kind of like the suit reacting, like wires in his brain and sensing things and, doing stuff. So he's shows him bouncing around pretty quickly, avoiding the attacks from the monster and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So then the monster, the Zonoid, finally decides to target Tetsuo. And that's when we get the Giga Smasher.
Well, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what's called. The biggest attack it's like the strongest attack I think he has.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he just like opens up his chest like a freaking mega beam or some like a freaking Kiryu absolute zero cannon, and just like shoots it and practically freaking obliterates the guy. Like I think almost all the goons were dead after that. Like it was like a huge hole in like the warehouse they were at, and then they're like, "Yeah, this is much more than we thought it was."
So when I was watching it, one of the things I noticed was the difference in sounds of both the Zonoid and Guyver charging up.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Zonoid has kind of a hum to it, and Guyver's has kind of like a electric hum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can almost hear like lightning coming off of him.
Yeah,
which I thought was pretty cool. So pretty much big hole and everything, big blast.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Big Bang Attack. I'm like, yeah.
Pretty short fight again.
Yeah.
And then I think at the end of that episode, we see the Chronos finally getting the second unit and activating it.
Yeah, and I think we also see that what's his name? I forget his name, but the student council president.
Agito.
Yeah,
Agito.
That's his name. Yeah, we also see that he discovers one of the Guyver suits as well.
Yeah,
takes them for himself.
Yep.
Which comes up later in I think the 5th episode.
Yeah, Yep. And he's a pretty interesting character because we get we start to see a little bit more about him now that we know that he has the third Guyver unit. We start to get to hear his thoughts occasionally, like briefly when he interacts with Show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What were your first thoughts of him when he started showing up?
I don't really have like any really thoughts about him because I just thought he was just going to be like a background character. But then like when he started showing up more, and then we see him take that suit, I was intrigued by it. I was like, what is this? Because I didn't really know. I thought at first I'm like, is he the villain? But then later in episode 5, I'm like, seems like he kind of has ulterior motives and he's not just a villain. Perhaps he could be like just like an anti-hero or something. What up, sci-fi nerds? What up, Donald? How you doing, sir?
Thanks for joining.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
So, trying to remember now. I literally just rewatched all these episodes before we started the stream, and now I'm
Yeah.
drawing a blank on episode 3.
Episode 3, I know. I just watched this one today. I know this one starts off with like, kind of like Tetsuro and like Sho having like an argument, like about like keeping whatnot, like not going out because of like the fact that they were like discovered by these goons.
Yeah,
So they're like, maybe we shouldn't like go to school. Maybe we should just like move out of the country, move somewhere else. Like they have this whole argument. He's like, what shows is like, what are you talking about, dude? Like we can't just leave. Like what are you on? Like it's
yeah,
just like a huge argument. I'm like, I'm kind of a show on this because I'm like, okay, Tetsuro, literally, dude, calm the fuck down. Because first of all, if the Zonoids show up, the Guyver suit is just going to kill them. Like, he's killed them almost every single time they've showed up. So I'm like, you guys don't really have anything to stress about. And plus, to be honest, these Zonoids are not the most clever of villains. They're kind of dumb because they think, oh, I'm going to take out the Guyver. Oh, shit, he got me. Like, what do you do? Like, they're dead. Like, just, you're fine. I think you're okay. Just don't get in car with strangers like you did last episode. I think you'll be okay. You'll be fine. Yeah. But to answer your question, Donald, you can watch this on YouTube. I think the whole season is actually available on YouTube.
Yeah, I could share a link with you later.
Yeah.
So,
pretty accessible. We have that argument, and then what else? Oh, and then we have the inspector finally like sort of like take a hold or take control or bond with that other suit as well in this one. I'm trying to remember what the hell else happened in episode 3.
Because this is
kind of like, yeah.
I'm trying to remember, is this where that tentacle guy shows up?
Yes.
Yes.
This is the one who shows up.
So we get introduced to the vibro blades on his elbows.
Yes, that's right. I remember those.
So what happened in the second episode, the lake was quarantined for a little bit because of the explosion. And then at some point during episode 3, it's mentioned that the lake is reopened. And like you mentioned, they had their big argument and everything, and they both end up at the lake again.
Yeah.
And so a squad of 5 of the Zonoid goons pop up and to protect
protect their main guns for every season. I'll start the series tomorrow.
There's only one season.
There's only one season.
So the manga's really good, but
yeah, we're planning on making a season 2. Well, they sure took their sweet time then, didn't they?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what happened with that.
I doubt they're gonna make it. They're not gonna make it season 2.
No, if they were gonna do it, it would have been right away. I think there just wasn't enough demand when it came out. But
yeah, it could be just because this season wasn't really a big hit. Maybe they're just like, nah, drop it.
Or the studio lost money.
Or that too, yeah.
So the Zonoid goons show up. They go to attack him. So Sho transforms into Guyver, gets them to follow him. And at first, some of them are like, "Oh, should we grab the other kid?" Meaning Tetsuo.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "No, we're just here for the Guyver. Forget the kid." So they all jump up in the air right into Sho's trap. Because as they're leaping at him, he's got his chest open again for the Giga Smash.
Up his chest, and he just annihilates all of them.
Gone. And then after he blows him away and almost hits Tetsuo, or at least that's the angle that they make it look like. But,
yeah, well, collateral damage.
So then Sho meets up with Tetsuo. They're talking by the lake, and all of a sudden, tentacle wraps around Tetsuo's leg. So Sho uses his head laser to sever the tentacle, and then you get the second in command to the Japan branch of Kronos, his right hand man.
Mhm.
He introduces himself and transforms into like an octopus squid kind of creature. And that's when Sho finds out he can only use the Mega Smasher once. Can't like immediately reuse it again.
Yeah. Well, I have a
So
feeling he couldn't because I'm like, it's such like a powerful attack. Like it needs time to recharge, dude. You can't just
yeah,
use it all the time, or else the show would just be over.
yeah.
I should just be like, all right, Mega Buster, take care of it. Or just done.
So and later on in the series, he does learn how to use like one side at a time instead of both of them.
Oh, okay.
So he is able to get a couple shots off with it, but right now he doesn't know anything about it. He's still learning.
Yeah,
everything.
he's still getting used to it.
So he's trying to fight the squid guy, and he's just laughing at him because he's so soft and squishy. He just absorbs all the impacts and everything. His head laser doesn't do enough damage to, put the guy down or anything like that. So he turns around and starts to try and run away. And obviously, with all the tentacles, again, gets wrapped up. So,
I don't know what he was thinking at that moment. Like, dude, he could just reach out to you, right?
yeah, and
Yeah, I will say that was actually very good looking animation when like they had him like slam down the ground and through the trees and whatnot. I was like, all right, this fight is a little bit better than like most of the other ones because I thought like it had like a better kind of like motion to it than the other ones. It wasn't a static, so I was happy with that little struggle that they had between him and the octopus looking guy.
And I like how the octopus guy's like, dude, why'd you turn your back to me?
Exactly. You don't know how to really fight, do you? Never turn your back on an opponent. This guy slammed him.
And so, yeah, this is when we get introduced to the Vibram blades, which was pretty interesting. And what's funny, though, is like the fight ends with the monster being split down the middle, which means he had to gone like this.
Yeah, just like
but yeah, it shows him in this position after they do the typical.
Yeah, which is like, I don't know. To me, it's like awkward how like the elbow blades work. I think it would have been better if he would have been able to like grab them and then like pull them out and use them as swords like that. I think would have been a much better maneuver rather than just having to just rely on his elbows to turn around and like. You better start learning how to do elbow combinations when you fight because I don't know how you'd be able to use them.
Yeah, that's one of the. I mean, it looks really cool, but it's one of the most bizarre like spots. To me, it would have made more sense if it was like Wolverine, where it was on like the wrist or something like that.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, he dispatches the monster, and then Fisker or Whisker or whatever the inspector's name is, he pops up, reveals that he's a Guyver as well, and they have.
I really like his Guyver design suit. I think it actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that almost all three of the Guyvers like have different like facial designs and they're like different colors as well. So they're not just like the same suit. I'm like, all right, that's pretty neat.
And in like a alternate storyline or in a something like that in the manga series, there was actually the second Guyver was actually a woman instead.
Oh, okay.
In like or something like that, and more of like a purplish pinkish color.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have figures of Guyver 1, the female Guyver 2, and then Guyver 3 from the Figma series. So I don't
So,
have them near me, otherwise I'd show them.
so we literally have like Power Rangers then. It's like different colored suits. There's like 3 guys and 1 female. So it's just like it's funny to me.
Yeah,
Because actually, to be honest, I think the Guyver suits remind me more of like Blue Beetle than like anything else. Because like it's kind of the same thing with Blue Beetle, where it's like the thing is like inside the person,
yeah,
and it comes out, and it's like an alien suit. But also kind of reminds me of symbiotes as well because of that upcoming scene in I think episode 4, in the beginning of episode 4, where it's like they have like that fight between Show and the Inspector, and the Inspector kicks his ass like pretty
yeah.
easily because he's like, I'm better equipped with this suit than you are. Not only that, just because he also has like better combat experience than Show does, so that explains why he wins.
Which is what Tetsuo realizes, because
Yeah,
like, well, they're the same, same units, so power difference is going to come from experience. And obviously, a high school kid that was just run of the mill kid, not taking like any martial arts or anything like that, is not really going to be able to go toe to toe with an adult who has years of military combat training.
yep, exactly.
But what's interesting about Guyver 2 is when they discover the unit, they mention that there's a scratch on it, but they don't show anything. Well, that scratch is what causes his suit to do the weird.
Yeah, malfunction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that plays a big factor later on
hmm
with Guyver 2.
I thought it was just because like it was like a sort of like a symbiote thing where it wasn't compatible with the host, and it was just like freaking out from it.
No, so when later on in the series we find out that the control metal is the weak point of the Guyver.
Oh yeah, that thing in the middle, right?
In the center of their forehead.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember in the movie they mentioned that too when they have like one of the monsters like the Zoanoids like rip it out of the
Yeah.
Guyver's head, and then this becomes completely like incapacitated afterwards.
Actually disintegrates afterwards.
Oh yeah, that's right. They like show the bones and everything like that when it happens. I'm like,
so the control metal itself is what's been damaged in the Guyver 2 unit. But like I said, they don't really show it. I think if when they do show the control metal, there's like a little indentation, and I think that's supposed to represent it. But compared to like Guyver 1, which is just perfectly round, it's like a perfect circle, whereas Guyver 2, there's like on one part there's like just this little like bump.
yeah,
It's really easy to miss. Um, but yeah, as they're going, tussling and everything, and he's throwing Show around and stuff, and he starts bragging, and then all of a sudden, you see the control metal start short circuiting, and he freezes up, which gives Show and Tetsuo a chance to escape, and then that's the end of that episode. Episode 4, he's getting inspected to MRI to see if there's something wrong with them.
Actually, I think episode 4 started with that forest fight. I think episode 3 ends when Inspector shows up.
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was like waiting for the fight. I was like, oh, this is gonna be interesting, and then they cut to episode 4. I was like, oh.
And then we get to see the president of the Japan branch freaking out because somebody higher up in the organization shows up and takes over.
Yeah, he's like, oh god. He's like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Like, wait, I started this company. Y'all know how much I sacrificed.
Well, it's
Green Goblin.
And the guy just, you can tell something's different about this guy because he looks like all the bad guys kind of look weird, but he like really stands out compared to everybody else.
Yeah, and I think is he supposed to be the main villain from the first movie also?
No,
That blonde haired guy.
The one that takes over.
Yeah, like the main villain of the first Guyver movie that turns into like that giant dragon-looking Zoanoid at the end of the
Oh
movie.
no, that weird monster one was Mark Hamill.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean like the final boss for the first Guyver movie. It was like the main like CEO or whatever of the
I,
Zoanoid in that movie who turns into like that giant Zoanoid at the end that Guyver has to fight.
I don't. It's been a while since I've seen that first movie, so I'm not remembering it.
Oh, okay. It just reminded me of him. That's why, because like the
Yeah.
facial, I think, structure of the guy in this anime and the way the guy looked in the movie, I was like, huh, they kind of look similar. I wonder if he's based off that character.
Well, what's interesting is as you watch the series, you find out that in the Kronos Zoonoid structure, there's different levels and tiers of Zoonoids. So, like, we're first introduced to kind of the base level ones with the Japan branch. And
Yeah,
in this episode, we're introduced to the Hyperzoonoids, which are more advanced versions.
yeah, that's right.
And but there's a level above them, or even higher above, way above them, called the Zoa Lords. And
Mm,
these are pretty much like the main people of the Kronos Corporation,
hmm
and they actually have the ability to control the other Zoonoids.
Yeah, I kind of seemed like that too with this guy that showed up.
Yeah,
Like
and
he was able to like communicate with the hyperzoanoids. It's like, no,
telepathically.
yeah, get back to base. I don't want you to die. Like you're
Yeah.
too valuable. Get back. Retreat.
So, and that's where we get our first casualty is in episode 4.
Yeah.
Um, so, and this is where the suspicion for Agito comes into play
hmm
because he like keeps seeing like these interactions with Sho and what's her name, Mizuki.
Mizuki and
Yeah,
Mizuki.
and so he shows up at the school. Sho and Tetsuo are going into like some video room to watch a movie, and Agito puts in a CD, puts headphones on, plays it, and like everybody in the school just drops what they're doing and they go away,
Yeah.
go home. And then we get a couple of regular Zoonoids pop up when Sho and Tetsuo finally get out of the movie. And then we get introduced to the Hyper Zoonoid. So what
Yeah.
you think of that fight?
I actually thought that fight was pretty cool. I like the fact that they went around school and just like started destroying stuff. Excuse the cat
It's Godzilla.
thing. Why? Why do you gotta interrupt me? I'm in the middle of a podcast. You sit there? All right, cool, thank you. Anyway, but no, I like that fight because I don't know, I like that kind of cliche in like those upcoming superhero stories where like the kid has to like fight a villain at their school. Because like I don't know, it's like it can make for like a fun setting where it's like this just random like location that we're familiar with, a school, and it's
Yeah.
just completely destroyed with these
Well,
two.
yeah, because the school's supposed to be like a safe haven for kids.
Yeah, and then
In
you
fact,
just have a giant, and then you just have like a mech suit getting thrown across the room by a giant monster. You're like, what the hell just happened? So yeah, but no, it was a really cool fight, and I thought the animation, the lighting was really cool as well. And I do like the design of the Hyperzoanite, and that's also something I like to point out is I do like the designs of all the Zoanites in the show. I think all of them have really unique and really cool looking designs that remind me a lot of something that you would see in like Power Rangers or like Ultraman,
yep.
but like much smaller. So
Yeah.
like I did like that though. They're like very cool looking.
So yeah, like I mentioned, we got our first fatality in here, and
Yeah.
the police officer that Sho and Tetsuo are friends with shows up at the school because there's an explosion. They can see the smoke,
Yeah.
and so they come riding up on their bikes because they're bike cops. And
Which, I mean, listen, if I'm a bike cop and I see an explosion, I'm gonna go at my department. That's not
yeah,
that's not me. I don't got a car. I have a bike. what the hell am I gonna do with a freaking explosion going off at a school? I'm just gonna call back. I'm just go, hey, Dan. Yeah, we got an explosion in a nearby school. Can you take care of that, please? Thank you. Like, I'm going home for the day. I'm going. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna. You got it covered. Like, I don't
So
want any part of that.
yeah, so they show up, and obviously they start freaking out because they see a monster, and they're like,
You're like, what the hell is that?
and so this particular Zoonoids has an acid attack.
Yeah.
Basically sprays both of them and kills them instantly. And Show goes to use his Mega Smasher on the guy, but he doesn't want to destroy the whole school and potentially, anybody that might still be there.
Mm-hmm.
So he's, getting beat up. He loses one of his vibro blades to the acid attack, and he's desperately trying to figure out what to do. And then the suit, reacting to his thoughts, gives him an energy ball attack.
Yeah, black hole, right?
Yeah,
Well,
gravity
that's
attack.
like black hole. Because like I think he was getting bombarded by like some attack by the hyperzoonoid, and in response, the suit conjured up that attack and just shot it back at him, and then like it took off like a piece of his shoulder. The
Yeah.
hyperzoonoid is like, what the, what? How's that possible? He's just like, forget it. You're not gonna be able to take me down now. And then the big boss telepathically like talks to him telepathically, and he goes, no, get out. Never mind. Just fall back. Treat. Take care of it another time. You're too valuable. I don't want you to die right now. All right, figure it out. Just leave. So then, the big guy decides like, all right, fine. I'll get you next time, Guyver. And then he just buggers off.
Well, after he hits the balcony that Tetsuo is on,
yeah, that's right.
to distract Show.
Yeah, which to me was like a low blow. I'm like, you dick.
Well, I mean, if he's got to make an escape.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm looking at Tetsuro. I'm like, why are you so close to the fight? Go away from it. You understand that you could be collateral damage if you stay there. Move. Go away. I get it. He's your friend, but at the same time, he is busy right now. He can't protect you. He has to deal with the bigger problem. So go away. Stay a good distance from the fight. It like happens with like almost everything in like every sort of genre, monster movies, superhero movies. I'm like, people, get away from the fight. You are going to die if you're too close to them. You understand? These are two powerful super beings colliding with each other. Go away. Yeah. Run the safety.
Well, and then even in the next episode, he's still hanging out in that area.
So close to these fights, and I'm like, why?
So
run.
In the fifth episode, they're trying to go about having a normal day, and they're in a restaurant having some burgers, talking about how Sho has the hots for his Tetsuo's sister, Mizuki.
Yeah.
And he's all embarrassed about it. And Kronos obviously shows up, threatens to, basically tells him just surrender right there. And he actually does a pretty cool thing, which is he uses his transformation to make an escape. But what's interesting is that, like, as he starts his transformation, his buddy Tetsuo starts like running in the opposite direction, running away, and then all of a sudden he's just gone. And and then later on you see that he's carrying him. So it's like, okay, so his transformation bubble starts, and somehow he's able to manage to grab his friend and zip out of there before anybody regains their sight.
Yeah, that was confusing. I was like, why? Like, when did he have time to catch him? Did he just like grab him like immediately after his transformation? Or did he grab him like in the middle of his transformation? Because I'm thinking to myself, okay, first of all, the bubble is there. And so what happened to the last guy that was near the show when he transformed? Yep. So why the hell is Tetsuo not just a puddle of blood and guts on the floor during this transformation?
Along with the Kronos guy too, because he was
exactly. Like, I think everybody else in the shop would have been fine. So like, what happened there? But I don't get it.
Yeah. It was weird. So, but they're running away,
Yeah.
thinking that they made a clean getaway and stuff. And we find out that there's a second one, and they're talking with each other telepathically. Show up, start attacking Show, and this time they're out near a highway bridge kind of thing, roadway bridge,
Yeah.
which is popular in a lot of the shows that we were talking about, like Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and stuff like that.
Of course, it's going to be it's a highway bridge. Of course, it's going to be destroyed. Any bridge and anything is going to get destroyed. And just be aware of that.
And so they start using like a sound attacks.
Yeah, like a where it's like has like I think it's like a very low kind of like frequency or something like that only hurts the Guyver, I think, because I don't think Tetsuro like really has any like.
Well, it's almost like his gravity attack, but it's an audio version instead.
Yeah, I think so.
And so they end up pummeling him while Tetsuo is like standing on the sideline screaming at him, and then he manages to get cut off one of the guys' arms.
Mm-hmm.
They realize what their attack is, so he purposely destroys the bridge to create debris to block the attack as he tries to close the gap between them. Cuts the guy's arm off, and then they activate their combined super attack, which nullifies all sound.
Yeah.
In the area, and then the one guy that got his arm blown off, I think, is like freaking out and starts just starts pummeling them. And we get introduced to another offensive weapon that the Guyver suit has, which is an audio one.
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts when he managed to pull that off?
It was cool, but at the same time, I was just like, "Wait, how was the suit able to do that?" I'm like, I get it too. Like, we're learning new stuff about the suit as well as Show is.
Yeah.
So like, but at the same time, I'm also thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I guess another Deus Ex Machina pull out. I guess I don't freaking know, but he managed to take him down.
Well, he's got two little orbs in his mouth, and if you think about it, the mouthpiece is like a speaker form.
Mm-hmm.
So in speakers, they all have that like kind of that center plate.
Yeah.
That helps with the vibrations, which is what produces the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what it is. The suit is able to like vibrate those to produce an audio attack.
Yeah.
Similar to what they were doing.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah. So basically, he turned around and used their attack similar to what they were using against him. He turned around and used it against them, and it actually obliterated the one guy.
Yeah, another got rid of him. And the other guy's just like, nah, my friend.
So yeah, so the commander tells him because Mizuki shows up right after the big blast.
Okay, well, to be fair with her, she was just kind of like walking.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Tetsuro where he's just near the fight like an idiot. Like, go away.
So, of course, Tetsuo looks and sees his sister standing there. He yells, which somehow the new commander of the Japan branch hears. So he tells the remaining Zonoid, go and capture the girl and run away. So, so he shows up, and apparently he grabbed both Tetsuo and Mizuki.
It looked like he grabbed Mizuki, and then Tetsuo kind of like jumped on him just to kind of like fight him a bit. I don't know what he was going to do, but to just like do that, I think out of like reaction to him grabbing his sister.
Yeah, but you don't really get to see it. You just you see him standing over Mizuki, and then all of a sudden they're like further into the town, and both of them are dropped down on the ground.
Yeah. Well, it looked because like when you see there's like a shot of him like going through the air and he's holding Mizuki, and then you see Tetsuro kind of like on his back. So I had a feeling like that like he'd like jump on his back and like try to put him in a chokehold. Again, I don't know what the hell that's gonna do, but you know. he just jumped on him, and then like I think when they got back to the ground, I think the guy just like grabbed him, and just like threw him down next to his sister. He's like, "Get the hell off of me!"
And then he's panicking and calling the boss, asking him what to do next. And before he could do anything, we get introduced to Guyver 3.
Yeah, I think you know what? I think this is my favorite design. I think of all the Guyvers, this is my favorite design.
Yeah.
Like
Now,
this looks so cool.
what's really interesting about his suit is that unlike the other two, his elbow blades, he has two on both arms.
Okay.
So, but they're like right on top of each other, kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So like, oh, you mean like he has like two blades instead of one?
Yeah. So, but it's on both arms, so he has four elbow blades total.
Okay. Interesting.
So, but yeah, his suit is all black, and he just walks up behind the Zonoid and just punches through him.
Looks like a combat finisher.
Yeah.
Like it's like, all right, fine, I'll kill these two kids. And like, well, rips out his spine.
And so and so this is where we get like what's really confusing about this guy, because when we've seen him interacting the last couple times of the show, it looked like he, wanted to kill Show, basically.
Yeah. He's in a bit antagonistic towards Show.
Yeah.
Like stealing his girl.
Well, yeah. That's the thing. Show has the hots for Mizuki. Mizuki has the hots for Ajito, and Ajito doesn't care about any of it.
He's like, I don't care. I'm too busy with other stuff right now to even care about this whole love triangle BS. I'm like, I don't.
So, but yeah, he acts nice towards Show. Brings Mizuki to him and calls her his girlfriend.
Yeah,
and then says, "We'll meet. We'll cross paths again later," and then zips away.
Yeah, and then like we also forgot to mention this one of the other episodes. We find out that not the main commander, but like the one below him, the one that was freaking out that he was going to show up.
Oh yeah, the former president.
Yeah, we find out that he is that guy's
adopted father,
or like I guess
uncle.
Yeah, I guess would be more accurate because Tetsuro talks about that, and we see that what's the character's name again? The one in the black suit.
Guyver 3.
Yeah, Guyver 3. What's his name again?
Agito or Agito.
Agiro. I'll call him Agiro. It's easier. But like Agiro, we kind of see that scene of him like doing like that handstands and like those gymnastic things, or whatever, and you kind of hear him talking like trash about his uncle. So it's kind of just like, so we all understand from that scene, like he doesn't like his uncle at all. He freaking hates his uncle. And his uncle doesn't really like him either. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, is it like one of those things where like he's not really a villain? He just like has so much hatred towards his uncle that we just think that he's a villain, but like in reality he's more akin to like an anti-hero. But also like it's interesting because in that scene when the hyper Zonoid shows up, he like takes everyone out of the school by playing that audio.
Yeah.
So it almost kind of seems like he knew the Hyperzone was going to show up and managed to get everybody out of the school in time, so there were no casualties until the cops showed up. So like again, that's another fact to me. I'm like, maybe he's not like a full-on villain like we think he is. Like he easily just could have like ignored that and just gone home himself and just let how knows I'm gonna die from the Hyperzonoid.
And that's the thing. Like we don't, because he shows up and he's got like a couple of guys with him. So, and like right before that, it was shown him talking with the new head of the Japan branch.
Yeah.
So we don't know if they, off camera, if they discussed like, to minimize how much we have to cover up, why don't you clear out the school?
Or that too. Yeah, that could have happened. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there. But he definitely knows about the time that the Hyperzonoid's going to be getting there because he's watching his watch.
Yeah, or it could be like he's kind of just like playing along with the two in Kronos, and then he has his own motives. Maybe like try to take Kronos down at some point. Have you seen Kill la Kill?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay. Well, like one of the characters you think is like a main villain is actually not a villain at all. She plays a villain, but then later on you find out that it's a twist that she actually was not in cahoots with the main villain. She was actually working her own scheme. She was actually a good guy secretly all along. So that's what, and that's just my theory about what it could be for Aguirre later on in the season.
So, but yeah, so that's the first 5 episodes. Overall, enjoying it so far.
Yeah, not bad. I like it. I think the introduction of this third Guyver, I think, is what really kind of like saved it for me. Because I was like, all right, this is interesting. We have the 3 Guyvers now all shown up. So like what's it gonna like come out to now with all 3 of them there?
So you got the main Guyver, which is Show, just the normal everyday teenager just trying to figure out how to survive and resist this evil organization.
Yeah.
And you got Guyver 2 that's a part of it, and Guyver 3 that big question mark over what his motivations are.
Yeah, the rogue at the moment. It's funny though, actually I would say the third Guyver gives you like heavy like Shadow vibes from Sonic.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, Shadow, but as a like a mech suit guy, like, how about that?
So, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to talking about the next 5 episodes, episodes 6 through 10 next week.
Yeah.
So I think we'll call it a day here. For those of you that are joining us or watching us later on, thank you for checking out our video. Again, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Latest.